Okay, what does it have to do with me?
Sophie, an outdoor enthusiast from Denmark, decided to challenge herself with a solo overnight trip in one of the country's many public wooden shelters. These simple structures scattered throughout Denmark offer a free way to enjoy nature without needing a tent.
Hi, my name is Sophie. Today I'm gonna try to spend the night in a permanent wood shelter right next to the airport. I'm gonna make a campfire, cook a delicious dinner, and have a cozy evening. I hope you'll join my adventure. Today my plan is to stay here in this wood shelter. We have quite a lot of these permanent wood shelters all around Denmark, and they have become very popular to camp in because you don't need to bring a tent, you just need to bring a sleeping pad and a sleeping bag, and then you have this lovely campsite where you can spend the night. Now I'm just gonna go out and look for some firewood. I have this pocket saw, it's called, like a chain from a chainsaw here with two fabric handles. First, when I got it, I thought this is the best thing ever. I loved it. But I think it's not that good anymore. Maybe it's just because that the blades are not as sharp as when I just got it. But I feel it keeps on getting stuck when I try to saw.
Her plan was straightforward. Make a campfire, cook dinner, and spend a quiet night alone in the woods. Although she had reserved a different shelter, it was already occupied when she arrived. So she continued riding until reaching another one, technically booked by someone else.
It's actually possible to book these type of shelters, or at least most of them, online, so that you know that you will have this spot available to spend the night. I booked a shelter for tonight, a different one, located like 1 kilometer from here. But when I got there, there was a family there cooking dinner over the fire. So I just kept on biking because I knew that there was another one over here. And I could see that this one was actually booked. But yeah, as you can see, no one is here. So now I'm just hoping that I will have it to myself. But of course, if someone comes here and they have booked it for the night, I will pack up and leave. It actually says on the website that you have until 8 in the evening to show up, and otherwise it's just free to take for everyone. And now the time is 7:30, so 30 minutes left of insecurity and then hopefully I can stay here in peace. This campsite is actually very close to the airport, the main airport in Denmark, so there might be some noise in the background of this video. There is a plane coming above me like every 5 minutes, so it's not as idyllic as you could hope, but it's a different experience. And as long as I'm out here in nature, I think it's nice, even with the plane noise.
Since it was empty, she decided to stay unless the rightful campers appeared. The website stated that if no one showed up by 8 p.m., the shelter became available for anyone. At 7:30, she waited anxiously, and by 8 p.m., it was officially hers for the night. However, the shelter's location came with an unexpected drawback. It was near Denmark's main airport. Every few minutes, planes thundered overhead, disrupting the peace she had hoped for. Still, Sophie continued with her plan. Build a fire, cook a warm meal, and sleep outdoors for the first time without a tent, relying only on the shelter and her sleeping bag. Dinner was a simple yet comforting Danish-style campfire meal. She had prepared dough at home, wrapped it around a stick, and roasted it over the fire to make hot dogs topped with ketchup and remoulade. As night fell and she finished eating, the forest around her changed. Sounds of cracking branches and rustling leaves seemed louder and more unsettling in the dark. Then, something strange caught her attention. Beyond the tree line, faint flashes of light appeared. They weren't from a nearby trail or house. They seemed deliberate, like someone slowly moving through the woods with a flashlight or lantern. The lights flickered and vanished, only to return moments later, always from the same direction. Sophie tried to brush it off as animals, maybe deer, she'd seen earlier, but the pattern felt unnatural.
Hot dog number 2. This ended up being quite a late dinner, but it was very good. 2 hot dogs. Now I'm full. Oh, I actually could have eaten one more, but 2 was enough. Now it's already dark, so I had to bring out my flashlight. And now the forest is starting to make a lot of sounds. I don't know what it is. As soon as it gets dark, all sounds just becomes a little bit scary. I have no idea if you can hear this on the camera, but there are these big, like, branches snapping or breaking in that direction. And now there's an airplane, so you probably can't hear it. But I'm just, I get a tiny bit scared whenever I hear that sound.
Later, as she cleaned up and prepared to sleep, the lights appeared again. No voices, only rustling and shifting light in the distance. Despite the unease of possibly being watched, Sophie decided to stay. She positioned her sleeping bag with her head facing the open entrance for a clear view of the forest and hung small lights to make the space feel safer. The rest of the night passed without any confrontation, though the uneasy atmosphere never lifted. Between her flashlight's dim glow, the eerie forest sounds, and the strange flashes earlier, it wasn't the peaceful night she had imagined. Still, she completed her goal, a solo night in the woods. By morning, Sophie felt proud yet reflective, still thinking about the mysterious lights and the lingering sense of being watched. The unexplained lights remain a mystery. They could have been hikers, someone scouting the area, or perhaps just a trick of perception amplified by fear and darkness. Yet, their timing and persistence suggests something more deliberate. What would you have done in Sophie's place? Ignored it and stayed, or packed up and left the forest behind? This video was recorded by 36-year-old cyclist Malcolm Fox, who accidentally captured a terrifying incident on his GoPro after taking a wrong turn while biking through a wooded area in Somerset West, South Africa in May 2016. His camera shows a man suddenly charging toward him and demanding all his belongings. Having never faced a robbery before, Fox later admitted he feared he might become just another statistic and that his 2 sons could grow up without their father. But this wasn't just one attacker, it was a group. One man took his bike while another searched him holding a knife. Luckily, the robbers had no idea they were being filmed. The footage was so clear that police were able to identify and locate them with ease. The suspects were arrested and every one of Fox's possessions was recovered, all thanks to that small camera. Brandon, the creator of the Brandon Explore channel, recently uploaded a video he described as the worst camping experience of my life. What was supposed to be a calm overnight trip quickly turned into a terrifying night of chaos. His journey began in the peaceful seaside town of Clacton-on-Sea in southeastern England. Just a couple of miles to the south lies the coastal settlement of Jwick, but the difference between the two couldn't be more striking. While Clacton is often listed among the happiest towns in Britain, Jwick has gained notoriety for being the poorest. Curious to see if the rumors were true, Brandon decided to spend one night camping there. Around 2:30 in the morning, 2:30, someone just dropped the door.
Right, whoever the that was has now gone. I'm gonna get out of here. Oh my god. Oh, fuck's sake.
Brandon woke up suddenly to the sound of someone pulling on his van's door handle. Before he could even react, a loud crash echoed through the night. Someone had smashed one of his windows. Startled, Brandon shouted, and the intruder immediately ran off into the darkness. Later, Brandon and his viewers discussed what might have happened. Most believed it was likely a petty thief looking for something to steal. A quick search online seemed to support that theory. Jaywick is regularly listed among the towns with the highest crime rates in the UK, where unemployment affects more than half of its population. With so few opportunities, some residents resort to theft just to get by. Even though the incident was terrifying, Brandon made it clear that he wasn't giving up on van camping. He explained that he would continue exploring, but be much more cautious about where he parks overnight in the future. The details of the event strongly suggest it was an attempted theft rather than a random act. The time of night, the deliberate attempt to open the van, and the intruder's quick escape all point to opportunistic criminal behavior. The situation also highlights the hidden risks of urban camping, particularly in areas struggling with poverty, where desperation can easily lead to crime. Still, one unsettling question lingers. Was this just an unfortunate coincidence? Or had someone been watching Brandon's van, waiting for the perfect moment to strike? And as more van lifers travel into unfamiliar towns, how many others might face similar dangers in the middle of the night? Meet Natasha, the fearless creator behind the YouTube channel Quest Out West. Through her videos, she takes viewers along as she travels and lives in her van, capturing the beauty of the wilderness and the freedom of the open road. Her channel has inspired many to pursue van life. But even the most peaceful lifestyle can turn frightening in an instant. For Natasha, what began as a simple stop would soon become one of the most unsettling moments of her life. It was supposed to be a short break.
There's a dinner here.
Okay, what does it have to me? That's the reason that I found you staring at my van?
No, I was just taking a break. I was looking for blackberries.
You were looking for blackberries. Out of this entire parking lot, you were looking for blackberries right beside my van.
An empty parking lot where she planned to rest before continuing her journey. But while sitting inside her van, Natasha suddenly noticed something that made her pulse quicken. A man was standing right outside, staring directly through her window. When she confronted him, he quickly gave an excuse, claiming he was looking for blackberries. The story didn't make sense.
I'm actually shaking from this one. This one scared the crap out of me. I was behind the curtain, and just as I opened the curtain to reach for something on the dashboard, staring into my van, and it scared the actual bejesus out of me. I just changed my clothes. Worth mentioning is that I was not naked when he showed up, but I was wearing a night dress that was a crop top, and that's why you could see my shoulders. I didn't have the straps over.
And none of the surrounding bushes looked like blackberry plants. Why would he choose to stand right next to her van, in such a wide open area? The encounter became even more disturbing when Natasha remembered she had been changing clothes just minutes earlier, though she clarified she hadn't been naked. Realizing that someone might have been watching her during such a private moment made her feel exposed and unsafe.
Parking lot. And in this entire parking lot, he comes up to all of these bushes are, so if there was blackberries, there would be any. It's very obvious that none of this is a blackberry bush. And if you're thinking he might have mistaken those for berries, he would have to be a complete moron, because they look absolutely nothing like a blackberry bush.
She decided to investigate and soon confirmed her suspicions. The man's excuse had been a lie. Later, she noticed actual blackberry bushes far from where he had been standing, proving he had no reason to be that close to her vehicle. Even after he walked away, Natasha couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The incident shattered her sense of security and reminded her that life on the road, while liberating, can also leave one dangerously vulnerable. That night, as she sat alone in her van, the image of the man staring in lingered in her mind, a chilling reminder that the most terrifying threats often don't come from nature, but from people. Some might dismiss the man's behavior as a misunderstanding, but the details suggest otherwise. His choice to approach her van in an empty lot, his false explanation, and the timing of the incident all point towards something far more sinister. It's entirely possible he had been watching her beforehand, waiting for the right opportunity to act, and only her alertness prevented something worse from happening. This leaves a haunting question. Was it truly a random encounter? Or had Natasha been unknowingly followed? And if she hadn't seen him when she did, what might have happened next? In the end, it serves as a grim reminder that while van life offers freedom, it also demands vigilance, because sometimes the real danger isn't the wilderness outside, but the people lurking within it. In 2017, a cyclist filmed his ride through a dense, shadowy forest when he stumbled upon something straight out of a nightmare. At first, he thought about approaching it, assuming it was just a scarecrow or a discarded doll. But the nearer he got, the more his unease grew. Something about the scene felt profoundly wrong. Without a second thought, he turned his bike around and rode off. After all, who in their right mind would stand perfectly still in the middle of the woods dressed as a clown, staring blankly into the void? The creator known as Love Sundays is a YouTuber who documents his life on the road, living out of his van, and embracing the minimalist lifestyle of stealth camping. His channel captures the essence of nomadic living, revealing both the peaceful moments and the challenges that come with being off the grid. But what started as a calm routine trip would soon take a grim and unsettling turn, showing the unexpected dangers that solo travelers sometimes face.
I mean, I am parked on the side of a road. I have parked across from a bit of a clearing. After last week's video where I had a little bit of aggro, I decided this week I'm just going to come out in the middle of nowhere so that I can have a little bit of downtime. And looking at it, it looks fine at the moment, but as soon as the sun starts to go down, I think it might get a little bit creepy around here.
On this particular outing, he parked in a secluded clearing, hoping to unwind after a tense incident the week before. The place looked harmless under the afternoon sun, but as dusk settled in, an uneasy tension filled the air. While his slow-cooked lamb stew simmered inside the van, he wandered through the nearby woods.
Food to slowly cook away. I think I'd be a bit of a wuss if I don't actually go for a wander in the woods when the sun's down. Might leave the diesel heater on really low. It's on the lowest setting at the moment anyway, just so it's nice and warm in the van when we get back. Right, I'm gonna try and not look at you completely because that light I've got shining in my face is very bright. Okay.
As night fell, the entire atmosphere changed. The forest that once felt peaceful suddenly seemed menacing, every rustle sharper, every shadow suspicious. Thoughts of horror movies set in the woods crept into his mind, until he finally decided to return to the safety of his van.
I don't even know, like, what, they just think that there's just some random van parked here that they might be able to break into, or I don't know, but it's a little bit freaky. It makes me kind of like, I'm not moving, but I don't want somebody breaking in thinking there's no one in here, because that would be a right pain.
Late that night, the silence was broken when a vehicle pulled up nearby. and drove off briefly only to return and park directly behind his van. The strange quiet that followed was deeply unnerving. By morning, his fears were confirmed. Someone had zip-tied his van's side door shut from the outside, trapping him inside. Even worse fingerprints were found on the fuel cap, suggesting someone had tried to siphon diesel. The cable ties seemed to be an intentional way to keep him from stopping them while they carried out their plan.
What the actual see that? I don't even think I can shut the door on it. So when I said I got left alone last night, it doesn't look like I did get left alone, does it? I didn't even hear anyone out on the side door. Right, I've got to work out how to do this. I don't think I've got any pliers. Tell you what, it's a good job I haven't got a bulkhead. There we go. Oh, it's miserable out here. So here's obviously just, let me check the back door. Well, there's nothing on this one because they wouldn't have been able to tie it to anything, would they? There's no way they could have done that door anyway. Oh, God. Right, let me put the camera down. Now this is interesting, I didn't actually notice this at the time, but if you look at that fuel cap there, there's fingerprints. So now I'm wondering, was their intention to steal my diesel? And if so, did they cable tie the doors so that they could make a quick getaway if they got robbed? But they're obviously not very intelligent thieves, because anyone would know on these transit vans, you have to open the passenger door to allow you to actually open the flap to get to the diesel.
This terrifying encounter exposes the dark reality of van life. While nature can be harsh, sometimes the real danger comes from people. The tampered fuel cap and fingerprints point to thieves targeting his vehicle, though their crude attempt showed little skill. The incident leaves one disturbing question: if he hadn't had a backup exit through the back door, how much worse could things have become? And perhaps more chilling, were they really after diesel, or did they have something far more sinister in mind that night?